What is going on, everyone? We are back with episode Trace Trois
Season 1.
of Season 1
Right.
of Dragula.
Right.
The zombie apocalypse. I love how apocalypse is spelled, by the way.
I'm quieter than normal because I feel bad. I hated this episode.
Yeah,
I love I love horror and I love zombie things, but I hated this episode.
It's like the first actual horror episode, and it's
so let down.
Such an infuriating episode. And we're going to talk about a lot of things here.
And why it's infuriating. Yeah.
I will say, so the intro starts off with Swan and
Drac
eating
Death Valley.
in Death Valley and being upset that there is not enough death in Death Valley.
Not enough entertainment, right, for two ghouls.
So we actually start the episode off, though, after the amazing song intro. Everyone's outside waiting for the bus, or waiting for everyone to show up.
They're waiting on the street, which is kind of funny, in an alleyway.
And they're all wearing like half drag, half regular stuff, which is fantastic.
Debating who went home.
Everyone does seem to think Ursula ended up being the one to leave, because one of the things we didn't get to see
was her being real defeated.
Was her being backstage, being defeated. And I almost am curious if this specific thing right here is the reason why in the future
they now go to the watering hole, the bar.
We see them at the bar and everyone's talking and doing their thing there.
The lounge. Right.
Because I feel like that's what we're missing right now is the post.
It's the after show, yeah. How do they feel now that their adrenaline has sort of calmed down and they've gotten what criticism they get? Because sometimes they don't get any. But
so apparently Ursula Major was just not
very defeated.
A happy camper.
Yeah. Not like argumentative or anything. They talked about her as being sad. You know.
You guys are gonna find me really cold for this.
Are they?
This is where it starts for me. Okay. So you find out Ursula does go home.
Right.
Because everyone shows up.
But her.
Except for her. And they get Loris on camera. And Laura starts doing the most fake cry I have heard come from anyone ever on this show. Like, they're upset Ursula's gone. And I'm not saying they weren't legitimately, like, not happy that Ursula was gone. But the fake pity me fucking crying shit. And this isn't the last time
I don't even
Loris
remember. No, far from. I don't remember that. What I do remember is her specifically saying she felt like Ursula was going home because she was defeated, blah, blah, blah. She gives Frankie and all of them big hugs when they return. And then the next thing you know, in her interview, she's talking about how she's sad Ursula went home because Ursula was like her best friend on the show.
Ursula.
And I just felt like it was one of those like, not sympathy, pity for her necessarily, but like
it's please pay attention to me.
She's besties with everybody. Yeah. And I just felt like it was sort of fake to the other girls and also to Ursula, whether they're good friends or not. I'm over it.
There's only so much I can chalk things up to somebody being young before I'm like, they gotta fucking go. They gotta get away. They just...
I wouldn't be necessarily tolerant of it in a show like this. Like, I'm not watching it, right? I do understand the need to fit in, the need to be liked, the need to... Like, I can... In real life settings, like, I get that, and she might get a little bit more from me in a real life setting in terms of not pity, because that's what she wants, but like maybe pep talks that have to do with maturing.
Right.
But I wouldn't be able to cope for long. I was trying to disappear, y'all. I was not trying to So
So after all that, they end up in Death Valley.
Right.
The Boulets tell them, hey, it's a zombie show. You're going to all go dress up as zombies.
And then entertain us.
And then
Don't be
entertain us.
boring.
And they don't do the don't be boring thing until after the initial.
But still,
everyone
don't be
out.
boring.
So they all go in, and as they're getting ready, there's conversations going on, separate conversations with people. And the first one that we get is Foxy not being real confident, which makes me so mad because Foxy came in and was in like the top 2 to 3 the very first week.
Yep. Same with the
and then was in the top
second
2 the second week, and even though that wasn't because of look, it was
the show.
Yeah. She did a really good job on the floor. And then all of a sudden this week, she's letting the negative things that were said to her, like the critiques that she got,
get to her
from the previous show, carry over and get to her, and she's holding on to it. And it's not one of those things that make me despise her or hate her or any stupid shit like that. It's just, I wish people didn't do that. Like, criticisms are criticisms to learn from and to grow from, and if you hold on to them in a negative fashion, you're not going to grow.
I felt like there was a little bit more to it. It was specifically because it was a zombie look. And she specifically said that prosthetics and like sci-fi makeup and stuff, that's not her bag. Like,
it doesn't have to be, but in a situation like that...
It doesn't have to be, but she was unsure because it's stuff that she has not done before. And she was like, if you... Basically, I want to say her background is probably burlesque type stuff, because she was like, if you tell me to be sexy and get down on the floor, like, I gotcha. But for this, like, I didn't know exactly how to come up with and complete this look.
In a situation like this, I feel like one of the things that really benefits anyone doing this kind of drag or doing this kind of show is having an understanding of horror. Right? Like, for me, if you can't do prosthetics, and do not get me wrong, I actually really liked the eye makeup that she had.
I really liked her
it's one of my favorite.
Hanging out, yeah. I really liked
it. But if
it.
you feel you can't do that, go a different route. How cool would it have been to be the only one to come out and pull off a Night of the Living Dead style of zombie,
black and white horror,
with just darkening up the eyes and really just playing into the performance, because then you're leaning more to the performance, which they already told you is your strength.
Yeah. But again, you're on a competition. It is a short bracket of time to complete these, to do it. The Boulet brothers at this point for this show, this competition, haven't really leaned that heavily into horror yet.
Right.
So I feel like she got hit with a whole bunch of complications that first seasoners are going to get. They're guinea pigs for the show.
Sure.
Nobody knows what to expect at this point or what to show up with. They are young, and so nobody really knew at this point that people like Victoria Black should apply. You know what I mean? It was a Boulet drag show competition for the next monster, but it wasn't like what kind of skill sets would be good to have before coming on this show. Because, you hear people in next seasons coming up talking about how they spent years preparing to even get on the show. So, I think she just got wrapped up, basically, in her own insecurities, and I felt so bad for her.
I just know if she'd have came out looking extra tattered, went with the classic just dark makeup to make it, look dead, and then would have came out and would have been like, Barbara,
right,
and just played into it.
Coming to get you, Barbara.
And I feel like the Boulets would have given her bonus points for that.
Right. I wish that she had stuck with the makeup look and everything that she did, because again, I really liked it, and worn something almost more ill-fitting, like her Ladies of Wrestling outfit. Like, she could have gone very simple and tattered, sexy. You can still do sexy, instead of just the sort of classic I want to be what are they, Western harlot for Halloween look was kind of the problem. And she she didn't dirty it up. It didn't look like she came out of the grave. You know, like,
Right.
there are things that she could have done, but I just feel like she was suffering from first season syndrome. And then on top of it, being young and not having experience, so her security in herself dropped so significantly that she was just not into this particular competition, this particular.
Right.
So
there were two other conversations kind of going on at the same time, and they were bouncing back and forth between the two of them. And
to make it sound more gossipy.
I loved it because
it was great.
It was who was it that was talking? So Xochitl was talking to Meatball.
Right, and then it was Frankie too.
And was it Frankie talking to, or vice versa?
Right. Yeah, Meatball was the one going after Xochitl to try and get.
And they were basically trying to get Melissa and Xochitl to talk shit about each other, and neither of them would. Both of them were
very respectful of their competitors. I loved it. It was so PC, but not done in like a. It wasn't intentional.
Right.
They just really respected the other person.
Both of them were like, yeah, we fucked each other up.
We beat the crap out of each other. Oh, I punched her. Well, that was after she punched me. But they never started like.
Right.
Oh no, I think she should go home. Blah blah blah. No, it was nothing like that. But it was just really funny to watch, specifically Meatball, because she was definitely more. Oh, almost like
instigational.
Yeah, like the stuff that she was saying was really sort of leading, and just Xochitl was just not giving it. And I enjoyed it. I normally hate the cattiness. I enjoyed that because it's like, hey, that's how you do it, girls. That's professional.
So, after they do all the boudoir stuff, that's the boudoir for this week, is the trailer.
Right, which is
actually probably better than the closet.
It's also, well, it's probably hellishly hot, though.
That's true. We get introduced to our special guest judge this week.
Right.
Which is just a skeleton wearing a pink or purple wig. I can't remember which color it is.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be taking pictures like I do with everyone else of the judges.
Just to pop that. Yeah, I think you should from now on.
Like
well, I mean, this one doesn't really matter, but yeah.
I still would have done it, though. It would have been funny.
Right. I'm just saying. This one doesn't really matter.
And I'm actually going to go through the ladies' floor show in the order that they were introduced. That's right. I went that far with it.
Oh, nice. We get pictures.
So first and foremost, there's the Boulets. Looking fabulous.
I love this Victorian look. I don't like them being bald.
Yeah, and do not get me wrong. I 100% understand. It's hot as fuck. They probably didn't want to be rocking wigs.
Oh, no, not in that. I mean...
But especially wearing black in the middle of the desert.
I have a full head of hair, and that would be awful. Well, and these were full coverage, which you need in order to not get windburn or sandburn or sunburn.
Right.
But on the other hand, like, they weren't gauze.
Right.
Which they could have gotten away with. They really, I mean, like, I don't know why they didn't go with a nice, like, sheer chiffon.
Right.
But they looked fabulous. Man, their cheek points were sharp enough to cut a bitch. Anyway.
All right. So first up,
if you can't tell, I am not makeup savvy whatsoever.
No.
At all.
Me neither.
I mean, that's one of the nice things about doing masked drag, though.
Right.
Right.
No, I don't do drag people. Now.
I would pay to see him. The karaoke would be on point. Lip sync.
I wouldn't lip sync. I'm singing.
Yeah, no, he's singing. Just don't put a mic there for some of it, you know. He's got a good voice, just, you know.
So Melissa came rocking... okay, this was something else I want to talk about. I'm going to go through and also talk about as we go through people's floor show looks here. This is the first week where almost everyone has a prop.
That is true.
Or some sort of gag.
Or a gag, yes.
Which I thought was really cool. So starting here with Melissa Befierce, she's got a baby that has a rope tied to it, which is supposed to represent the umbilical cord.
Right.
It's a baby doll, not an actual baby, folks. Calm down.
I mean, you never know with Melissa. You never know. It's the Boulet brothers.
We've got Meatball.
Yeah, okay.
Huh?
No, I'll wait until we're actually doing the review.
Oh. Then we've got Meatball. Meatball had so
She had a fan.
she had a fan that was attached to a hand that was fake, and she was doing this thing where she was like waving off her face, and then the hand flew off and onto the ground. So that was her gag.
Right.
So she was falling apart. You've got Loris, who is a rabbit who had a heart that she pulled out of her chest.
And escaped a loony bin because she's wearing a straight jacket-ish
Right.
thing.
Then
I'm gonna say she was experiment for the makeup.
We've then got Foxy as Yue, who came in rocking the almost Mary Poppins-ish
No, I would have said she was more like
gypsy.
no,
maybe?
again, a Western horror. Like, what are they called? Why am I having such a hard time?
Debutante.
No. Debutantes are they're silver spooners. That's a totally different thing. I'm thinking like a bar person,
Bar wench.
something like that. Like but there's a name, guys, and I don't know. My brain is just.
Now Foxy didn't have any gags other than the eyeball.
She
that
had
was
a
hanging
great
out of her
eyeball
face,
though, yeah.
which was pretty dope. And then we've got Xochi, who was a rock star, had a mic and was even spitting up blood as she was trying to sing.
Yeah.
Or growl, I guess.
Yes.
Yes. And then we've got Frankie Doom, who is a Silent Hill demon thing.
Silent Hill Predator hybrid. We're gonna go with.
Right. I love the time that was obviously put into the teeth. They were like popsicle sticks that were gigantically cut.
Yes, we'll talk about that more when we get there.
And then last but not least, Vander Von Odd, who was rocking the almost voodoo priestess skeleton zombie
Almost
thing.
Victorian piratey. Like, you could make the skeleton be from any of those periods.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will go more into them when we get to them.
Yeah.
All
That's why I held it.
individually
Yeah.
as our rankings. So that was everybody's that came out. They did some things. They showed themselves off as the Boulet sat at a table watching them and judging them. And then,
As you do.
After that, we get to the point where they announced that they actually have a challenge that they've all got to work together to complete. Not together. And that challenge is an acting challenge. Again, none of them are good. But some are definitely better than others.
That's also true.
So the zombie acting thing was they had one person or one guy that was there who was the victim.
Right.
And everybody took turns.
Be my victim.
Right. Everybody took turns
Attacking
them.
one way or another. Right.
This is where, and it's gonna happen. It's a drag thing, but a lot of it was very sexually based, which is it is what it is. That's not what I'm looking for in zombies, but it is what it is.
Right.
So Frankie ate the guy's ass. Loris did something.
Ripped an arm
off and tried to eat it like a carrot.
Right.
Foxy was trying to make out with the guy while eating his face.
Although, she did do a super zombie neck chew.
True.
Yeah.
Meatball was riding her zombie.
Yeah.
Vander Van Odd also ate ass. And then Melissa and Xochi were the other two that actually presented themselves as
Zombies.
zombies.
Right. Now, granted, they were all fast zombies.
Yeah, mostly. Some of them didn't need to be.
I mean, like, I feel like the way that it was all set up, though, the guy was moving relatively fast, so, like, it kind of had to be, but that's a whole nother conversation for horror fans.
So, Xochi and Frankie Doom were the first two that were brought up, and they were basically considered safe in terms of they were amidst the top four. They were praised for their looks. I agree with one of those. Melissa Befierce and Vander Von Odd were brought up as two of the other top four, and they were considered the co-winners. It's the first time we have co-winners.
Right.
And they said, here's one of the things that I will disagree with, and this is the first thing you will see me disagree with on the Boulets this episode. I say the first because there will be more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind them sharing the win. It is what it is. That's your choice.
Right.
I mean, it's your show. It's fine. I do not agree with the excuse for Vander Von Odd not taking it as wearing the skull mask. Because for me, the skull mask enhances the look she was going for.
Right.
It actually makes it look like somebody wearing the skull of somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, it took it for me from, oh, she's just a skeleton, to, oh no, she's wearing somebody else's face.
Right.
And it gave you that voodoo-esque, especially the way she presented herself when she came out.
Yeah.
Like, the mask for me enhanced the look. If
Yeah.
you'd have taken it off and it would have just been painted, I'd have been like, oh,
she's just a skeleton.
it's a house of 1,000 corpses. Cool.
Yeah.
Which I love, by the way, don't get me wrong.
A great movie, but not zombie.
A different kind of zombie. That's a Rob zombie.
Yeah. That would be really funny, though.
Which is funny, because Dragula.
If one of them had shown up in a Rob zombie outfit to complete the zombie challenge, I think they would have won. I think they would have won.
That's what Foxy could have done.
Yeah, she should have just...
You didn't specify the zombie.
Right.
And then she could have sang Dragula. And you know what?
And I would have given her the win. For creativity right there.
There you go.
Anyway. Moving along from our now bettered zombie episode.
Not Vander. Meatball gets tore down. Tore down by the Boulets.
Honestly, and
this is wrong. This is wrong. This is what you're not doing right. This is what you could be doing better. You're doing this okay, but everything else needs to be stepped up. And then they're like, so for those reasons and others, you're safe.
Right.
The fuck?
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I get why they did it when they had Vander come up.
They said it very politely.
But they were nice.
They were like, we just don't know if there's anything else to you.
And they were right. I agreed with their critique in that this was the wickedest witch look, just zombified. Right. I can agree with that in terms of the personality, not the look, but the personality.
Right.
It is. It was the same character.
Yeah, she was giggling the whole time. An evil giggle, mind you, but still.
But I would not have put or asked somebody to step up to be in the challenge when somebody else was already more deserving to be in the elimination challenge.
Oh, okay.
I get why they did it, because they're like, we haven't had a chance to see filth from you.
From Vander.
From Vander. And we'll get into that in a second. But at the same time, they're doing what the competition for the most part has asked.
So you're thinking Meatball should have been in the...
Yeah. It should have been Meatball, Foxy, and Loris. And we'll get to that whole thing here in a minute.
That whole mess.
But no. So, yeah, they take Meatball.
Yeah.
You're safe. And then they ask Vander, as you guys, could probably surmise if you're watching this. I hope you've already seen the episode. Yeah. They do that. They ask Vander to step up, which I thought was cool. Vander was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, no hesitation.
No hesitation.
And then they said, okay, so you're eating brains.
Yeah, everybody's eating brains.
And Vander was just like, oh, okay. Just took it fucking in stride.
They bring out the plate and show it to everybody, and everybody else is looking disgusting except for Vander. Vander's over there going...
Yeah, Vander's just like...
Let me smell it. Let me eat it.
Whatever you want of me. Which, by the way, is super cool. They're just such a chill person that it's nice to watch. It's refreshing.
So yeah, it's an eat. They have to eat pig brains, and on top of it, they're not allowed to use their hands. Like, they have to face first, zombify, eat the thing. And she brought up a good point. I do want to make this known. She had asked if maybe that they had done this challenge specifically to get Loris out of their comfort zone, and I don't think that's the case. I feel like the eating brains is a natural challenge for a zombie thing, and I think Loris just happened to really fuck up the whole thing.
Well, in terms of her looks, yeah. And it wasn't so much to push her out of her comfort zone, because I think, honestly, as somebody who has stated that they're a vegan, that would be rude. You don't purposefully feed the vegan well, most people
in
don't.
this competition you do.
Yeah.
You're going to do the same thing everyone else is doing.
Well, no, I agree with that, but it's not, I think more I wanted to see if they were testing her.
Oh, making her do it just to see if she would.
Yeah, it's not moral fiber. Like, I'm trying to think of what the word is.
Test her competitive spirit.
No.
Are you competitive enough to do what needs to be done?
It's more like how deep rooted are her beliefs about anything, honestly, at this point, because I have severe questions about any of it.
Are you truly vegan, or are you doing that as another victim?
Correct. Are you doing that as another, like,
look at me, please pay attention?
Right. And she, as far as I'm concerned, failed that.
Okay, so we get to the challenge. Not today!
And unfortunately...
This is the quote of the show. And when I say the show, I don't even mean this episode.
No,
I don't mean
it's
this
recurring.
season.
It's recurring.
I mean, this is a quote that has come back at least once every other season.
At least.
Where somebody jokingly will be like, Not today! Now, what's funny is though, Loris never says not today in that fashion. She legit is just like, not today.
Yeah, that was Meatball's impression.
But that was Meatball's impersonation, and the impersonation itself is what has carried on
right
through the show.
But nonetheless, she was obnoxious as sin.
Vander dives right the fuck in.
Yep. So does
no
Foxy.
hesitation. The fucking bell rings. Vander's the first face to the plate. Foxy's like half a second behind.
Right.
Face to the plate. Loris goes on a goddamn rant. And let me tell you something. This is the
pops the seat on the side of the table so that she can,
This is the last straw that I have for Loris in this competition. And I'm going to say this to anybody that's going to look forward to seeing any future episodes for any future seasons. I hate anyone getting on a soapbox to preach their beliefs and shit to me during a fucking competition. I come back to what I said in the first episode. Loris, shut the fuck up and do what you gotta do.
Either do it or don't.
Talk about it backstage. Do the backstage interview and be like, I didn't want to eat animal byproduct, but I understand that if I was good, like, if you want to do that during the interview backstage, do it. Don't sit there and stand up and be like, I've bypassed eating animal byproducts for 2 years because...
Right. She didn't even really say because. Like, she didn't give us any reasoning. No, we don't. Here's the thing. Like, I would have respected her more if she had said no.
Yeah, I would have too.
Like, I don't want to not be in this competition. I don't want to lose today for this reason. However, I am firmly a vegan, have been for 3 years, and I can't do this. You know, like, I would have been like, oh, see, she believes in something and she's standing up for it. And I would have been like, oh, okay, that's, like, I don't mind people who are vegan or have air fryers or, any of that stuff, just as long as it's not pushed in my face, and or used explicitly to garner attention. Because if she was making the choice to eat the brains, eat the brains. Yeah, don't tell us about it at that moment. Especially since the other two were chowing down this whole time.
And Foxy actually ends up dipping into
Loris's. Because she's talking.
No. Foxy dipped into, because Foxy was on the opposite side of Van. Foxy was dipping into Van odds.
That's right. And then,
And so they were both eating out of that spot. And then Loris finally
takes like a couple.
Steps in and takes like 2 or 3 bites. Gags. And then like that's it.
Yeah. As far as we saw.
If it's even 2 or 3 bites. And so then this is where I have to disagree with how this whole show ends.
Right.
Foxy leaves. Foxy is thrown out of the competition, and I am sure at the end of the day it is because they came out with an entire lack of confidence and motivation.
Right, but she didn't want to go, is the thing. She still had fight in her.
She had fight in her. She went at them brains.
Yeah.
Loris
she wasn't
barely
confident
did.
Of the look for that. I think if she had been allowed to come back, she would have gotten back into the competition. I
do
honestly
too.
think the zombie thing tripped her up.
And at the end of the day, Laura should have just went fucking home.
Yeah. Multiple reasons there.
Right. Thankfully
we'll
they
talk-
eventually do.
We'll talk more about that when we get to our ranking in her outfit. But yeah.
All right. So, I guess that brings us to the
Ranking.
Oh, hold on. Foxy, by the way, does die by going into a walk-in freezer and getting locked in.
She follows the dollar bills, y'all.
Yep.
And honestly, it's fun when they pump in the it looks like gold dust.
Right.
Instead of just the freezer air turning on. Yeah.
All right. So.
Because she's a gold dust woman. All right.
To the ranking screen. As you can see, we have Pinche and Ursula eliminated.
Yeah. Our disco queen.
All right, hold on. Yeah, you do start it off. You know what? I don't even have to ask you who your worst one is because I know it's the same as mine.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we're just gonna go ahead and throw them up right here.
Yeah.
And by the way, in case you guys didn't notice, this is the first time her and I have. Oh, that's not who I wanted. That was Foxy. This is the first time her and I had
the same lowest.
the same person to lose, and then they not lose.
Right. So Loris.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought when she came out. So I don't know what Alice in Wonderland's psychotic dream Loris had that when she heard zombies, she thought, white rabbit that escaped from the loony bin. Totally. Right? No. Wrong. For so many reasons. This is not a zombie look. Like, if you wanted to be a zombified animal, if you, like, that would be really ironic.
If you want to do a zombified animal, be an ant. Because you could have went with the whole fungal look, because the fungi that takes over the ant's brain, and you could have actually played that into
you could have, but
real life.
But here's my thing, like, if she was made, this would have been irony of ironies. If this whole thing was to be a statement on, like, you know, makeup testing or testing on animals and then them coming back afterwards, she ate brains at the end. So not really the competition to be like trying to make a statement about anything if that's what this was, because that's all I could think of.
Or why are you going to be a rabbit and rip your own fucking heart out and then still be like, but I love animals?
I mean, like, I felt like maybe this started with a commentary on testing on animals and then coming back afterwards, but on the other hand, like, it's a straitjacket. She's not dirty. She's a goddamn rabbit. She's not zombified whatsoever.
Right.
Like, and then
not only do you have the worst look, the worst attitude, well, personality. I won't even say attitude. They don't necessarily have an attitude. It's not like they're arguing with people.
No.
Worst personality of the group, the worst look of the group. You had the best prosthetics. They were right about that. As far as prosthetics
they
go,
were applied the best.
The rabbit prosthetics were on point.
Yeah.
But your look didn't make sense to the competition.
At all, whatsoever.
At all. You should have, not only should you have been in the bottom, you should have fucking went home strictly because of that.
And then she also, in my opinion, completely lost the competition because there's a good 5-minute soapbox opera that she puts on before she even digs in.
Right. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Of the show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, well, not the worst look of the show. There's a worse look than that. Ursula's last week. But...
No, honestly, this is so... At least Ursula's last week had something to do with the competition.
Only the 80s portion. It had nothing to do with the wrestling.
I agree, but, like, it had something to... Like, a white rabbit in a straitjacket?
It still looked better. I've just said look-wise.
Right.
But no, Laura should have went home.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
All right, so my number 6... Where is Meatball? And a lot of it for me...
May as well just pop her up twice.
Oh, did you have her at 6 as well? That's fantastic.
Yep.
A lot of her being at number 6 for me is compared to everybody else, she looked the least zombie-like.
Yeah.
Until she had the hand gag. She had the hand gag.
She's very Marie Antoinette vampire victim almost.
It is very much the laughing and goofing.
She's not a zombie.
No. Maybe Elizabeth Bathory. Maybe
well,
you're bathing in the blood of your enemies.
No, I was thinking
shit, but
this would fit for me a vampire competition. Pop in some fangs. You can do all the laughter you want. Even like the writing of the guy when she catches him. The fan, but there was nothing zombie about her outfit.
Right.
Nothing. She herself was painted like Marie Antoinette, the high rouge, the white powdered face, the wig, and yeah, it looked like it was it's seen better days, but there was no dirt, there was no gore, there was nothing on her dress. I mean, she looked like her neck had been cut, not either with fangs or cut, not bitten. There was just, other than the hand gag, which was funny, there just wasn't zombie in this whatsoever. Right. She wasn't shambling about even in her floor show.
No,
she was running about laughing, and it was funny. It made me laugh because her laugh is contagious. But on the other hand, I was like, yeah, this isn't zombie.
What is your number 5?
My number 5 is Frankie.
Well, that's cool.
Oh. Because what in the Silent Hill Predator
that was my 5.
is this? I mean, damn cool look, don't get me wrong. Totally rock it for Halloween. But, again, there's no zombie in here.
Right.
None.
There's a few things, and a few of them I actually agreed with.
The Boulets.
The Boulets. Some of it looks too clean.
Well,
and then some of it doesn't look clean enough.
Right.
And it's not the right things in the right places when I say that. So her outfit does look very store-bought in a lot of places, especially when you start getting into the point where, the belt... And I'm not even one of those people that are against store-bought stuff being used, but when you're using store-bought costumes is when I start to have a problem, because you come in looking... And I mean this as somebody... I mean, we wear store-bought stuff for Halloween and shit. I don't... Again, but this is a competition. The whole part of this competition is being able to actually build your drag outfit. Right. And a lot of this is, again, going to come back to them all being in season 1. They're the guinea pigs. They don't know what to expect, and I get that. But everybody else, you can clearly tell, is throwing together their outfit with what they have available to them. Yeah. And it looks like you've bought half of your outfit off of Amazon because you got, the sexy nurse outfit. And then, do not get me wrong,
again, the
I love the teeth.
Look great.
The teeth look amazing. It looks like they got they took the popsicle sticks and jagged them all up and put them all in the mouth. But none of that screams zombie to me.
No. Again, it's very Predator.
It definitely just screams monster to me. If they'd have been like, oh, this is a monster show, dress up as a monster, girl, you'd have had it.
100%. Yeah,
you'd have been
that'd have been great.
You'd have been in the top 5 for me.
Now, I don't have a problem with store-bought costumes, even as long as they are made unique. You can't just pop on the costume. But if it's the base that you need, and then you actually improve upon it or make it unique, or then that's, you're doing what you should be doing. Not everybody can sew.
Right. My number 4 is Melissa Befierce. Here's the problem. Moving up, honestly, I like everybody else's outfits quite a bit. We're talking about incremental difference, in my opinion.
Right. In these 4.
In these 4.
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
I think Melissa definitely deserved and earned. I won't even say deserved. Earned.
Yeah.
Being amongst the top, shared whatever. Honestly, I think she should have. She earns taking the top spot. But in terms of just looks and things like that, for me, what really going back to what the Boulet said, with you think of Frankie, and they had talked about how like her boobs didn't necessarily feel like they were attached to her face, her chest and stuff. When you looked at Melissa Befierce, it definitely looked like she was just wearing a mask.
Right.
The prosthetics weren't done to the degree that even Foxy did.
Right.
And I don't dislike the look by any means. I just don't feel like it was as clean.
Right.
Now, as far as a complete turnaround, like, she's gone from just kind of being glam to like this. And I was like, this is the Melissa I'm looking for. This is fire. And, yeah. I don't remember how far she makes it into this competition. I don't remember if she makes it in the top 3 or not. Does she? But
this is the turnaround where she finally, like, she gets the memo. Right. And she starts having fun with experimenting. Because, like, facial prosthetics like this and everything, not her bag.
Right.
So, yeah, I was super proud of her. I agree with the incremental. Now, my number 4 is Vander. And while some people might agree, because let's be honest, Vander is a creative wizard. Absolutely stunning look. I love this look. Do not get me wrong. I think it's fantastic. It's not a zombie. It's just not. Like, even if I look at the mask the same as you were just describing it, like she is wearing somebody else's skull, she still strikes me as voodoo priestess, but not zombie. Because if she had come out and had contaminated her outfit with some Spanish moss, some stuff that maybe looked like swamp water, something like that, I would have been sold. Right. I would have been like, okay, voodoo priestess climbed out of the swamp to be here, like, but she was pristine. Like, even her skeleton was like bleached skeleton level, you know.
I think that plays kind of into what the Boulet said as well.
She's just
with not having dipped in herself into the filth side of things yet.
Yeah. It's just it's so clean that I didn't see zombie. I saw beautiful death. Like, this is gorgeous. This look is fantastic. I would love to wear this look, but it's not zombie, and so I could not put her any higher than the other women that I feel did not scream zombie whatsoever in this competition. And honestly, I do feel like this particular competition, so more than half of them didn't get the memo.
Right. We're horror fans first. People.
Yeah. So my number 3 is Xochitl. Now, scream zombie. I love it. It's very 80s punk rock. Like, again, they had the whole blood coming out of the mouth gag, and they made sure it was nice old blood, so it looked kind of tarry. And, you know, the microphone, and I feel like their attack was very zombie-like. Great look. I think they did really well.
My number 3 is Foxy. Foxy as you weigh. Again, I was extremely disappointed that they got sent home. And not from a, like... I mean, I like all of these people about the same except for maybe Loris, as far as personalities
like,
and things like that. As far as I can get invested in people that I'm never probably going to meet in real life, right?
I mean, the other thing about, I think, season 1 is we don't get to know them as well as we do in other seasons, because there's not like the whole deep interview kind of process. We don't get to see them interacting with each other backstage and having the personal conversations that we see a lot of. So it's hard in this season to become really attached one way or another, but now, I really liked Foxy's look.
the only reason she got pushed down for me is her attitude. But again, it doesn't push her to the bottom for me.
Right.
I wish and hope that at least at this point in life she's gained more confidence.
Right.
In herself.
I feel like this is a hard show too, because a lot of people who come in with confidence realize they can't do everything, and you shouldn't be able to, guys. Like, doing everything is not natural, so
but I really liked the look. She had my favorite personal individual prosthetic with the hanging eyeball.
The hanging eyeball
was done really well. I didn't even mind the outfit. Because she had done more to make herself look more disheveled. Yes. Yeah. But she didn't look bad.
Right.
She didn't look like a rabbit. So.
There's that.
Yeah, that's my number 3. It's still my turn, isn't it?
Yeah.
My number 2 is Xochitl.
Okay.
For a lot of the same reasons as she was your number 2, I feel like she had the best pure classic zombie look.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
Minus having like pieces of body missing, but just I loved the blood that was coming out of the mouth. She did the zombie walk. She actually
groaned a bit.
She actually acted like a zombie.
Yep.
Yep. 1 second. Which one was her? Was it this one? It was this one. I need to fix something. That's not what I wanted. Give me 1 second, guys. I want transform. Edit transform. I need to click. Wait, who is this? That was Foxy, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're changing size? I see.
Yeah, it looks like it's
a little off.
1150. 290. Should be 861, 466. I believe. Oh no. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go through and fix those later. I don't know what happened. They got all funky at some point. But yeah, I really.
Yeah. So my number 2 was Foxy. And again, I thought the eye prosthetic was genius. She acted like a zombie. I personally only got to see her being insecure beforehand because she had never done any sort of horror makeup. And I get it. That's sort of a low energy point to start from. So maybe she wasn't. I mean, they did say that her actual performance suffered as well, and we didn't really get to see too much of that. So because of that, just judging based on how she looked and how the clips of her, how she acted, I thought she did quite well. Like, could there have been things that she had done differently? Sure, there's stuff anybody could do differently, but I personally really liked this look. So my number 1 is Melissa. And I gave this to Melissa because she was a real zombie. I like that when she decided to, fuck herself up, she went back kind of to her roots. So she's an abuela, and she's got her baby. She's dirty. She's filthy. She acted filthy. Could her face mask have been better? Absolutely. It looked more like one of the masks that I use to hydrate my skin at night. Like, it looked like a paper
mache
mask. Yeah. And I am still okay with it. A, because zombies are supposed to be falling apart. And B, because we know that this is not her norm. This is her stepping outside of the box, fulfilling everything that they asked of her in terms of this competition, and I think that she did it with amazing, I was going to say class, and then I'm looking at her with like you know, her umbilical cord dead baby in her mask, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably not the word to use right there. But I think with aplomb, she looks great.
Right. And my top one is Vander. The reason I think I'm probably a little higher on Vander than yours in this situation is one of the Uncharted games that I played. There is a part where you do run into some voodoo style of people, and through some sort of spell or magic-like incantation, they become basically zombies.
Right.
And that's kind of what this reminded me of. Is it too clean? Yes. It definitely should have been dirtier. And I definitely agree with the Boulets in that she needs to, and she does, obviously. I mean, those of you that know how the show turns out, but she does need to lean more into the filthy side of things when the time calls for it. However, what catapults her mostly to the front for me is the same thing that catapulted Foxy for the Boulets last week.
Performance.
Her performance.
Yeah.
The way she comes out of the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Walks up to the
just
Boulets.
The way that
the
she,
contortioning that she does, and the way she moves herself.
Vander is absolutely amazing for somebody who said she's a baby queen and has never performed before.
You're performing better than everyone else.
Where did you not perform? Like, did you practice these moves in the shower? Because if you did, good on ya. Like, amazing. And she is 100% game. Like, I love her attitude. Again, I get what you're saying. Like, where... Because she would have been number one. Like, I have no problem with her sharing the top slot with Melissa. I actually do agree with that 100%, guys. And again, I agree with them for the reasoning. I agree with Vander for her performance and Melissa for stepping out of her comfort zone and for the look that she pulled off. And Vander's just, you know, she's just that queen. Here's the thing. I think a lot of these gals at first, because costumes are expensive,
right,
don't want to dirty up something that they have that they think is perfect for it. Like, if you look at Vander's suit...
Until you get to later seasons and
right,
people are rubbing their clothes on the floor like, yeah, I'm trying to get it dirtier.
I'm trying to get rips in my fishnet. Yeah, but they also know what they need to do. Right. But, like, this suit that she's wearing is gorgeous. It's this beautiful, like, baby pink with black velvet jacquard print on it, and then she's got lace and pearls, and it's so gorgeously glam that I can't imagine putting it on and being like, right, so where do I get the Spanish moss and swamp? You know, like, I wouldn't want to do it. And I feel like some of that's there, but then she's so game for anything that she comes out in this gorgeous thing, and then she's in Death Valley. Like, is Vander gonna crawl on the ground? Absolutely. Like, whatever is needed for the show, she's gonna do for you. So again, I think you know what's really funny is you have Melissa in 4, I have Vander in 4.
They basically go the opposite.
We completely switched, yeah. So
down the line.
But I do think,
and like I said, the top 4 are all very incremental for me in terms of
Same.
who's better than who.
And I agree with the top 2 winners, which is amazing because they are our top 2 winners as well, you know. Right. So, but I think where we completely disagree with this episode and the ruling
is just on Vander.
Is on Loris.
Oh, yeah. Well, we disagree together.
Yeah, like, well, and it was what was so upsetting about this episode was
she should have went home. She just should have.
Absolutely, and I
don't
Foxy did.
I don't agree with Boulet's choice in getting rid of Foxy. Now, a lot of that again could change depending on her attitude backstage after it was all said and done. That we don't know. There could be outside.
Who knows what her performance was like?
Because again, we didn't know about Ursula until the beginning of this episode when they were talking about how defeated she portrayed her, like she was backstage. So.
Right.
Like, there could be more that goes into that, and I know she was very down on herself from A, last week, and B, not
feeling comfortable
for this one. But strictly from a rules perspective, unless
Right.
Foxy just came out and said, "Here's my look," and then turned around and walked back in,
Right.
Laura should have fucking bounced.
Exactly. Yeah. She didn't tick any of the boxes.
She didn't tick any of the boxes. She barely even ate the fucking brains. I don't give a fuck if she says she's vegan or not, and then she at least tried to do it. I don't care. That don't mean shit to me.
That just tells me that she doesn't
like,
really
again,
have.
I would have had more respect for her if she'd have been like,
doesn't
"I'm not
really
doing
have
this."
anything that she stands for, so she stands for nothing. You know, come on now.
Like, I stand for my fears. If somebody's like, "Hey, to win this competition, you got to jump from a plane," I'd have been the first motherfucker to be like,
See, and
"I'm gone.
that's the thing.
Peace."
Like, you would never join this. We would never join
would
this
not.
because of some of the stuff
That
that
they do.
Yeah, and
I know
we're
better.
just like, nah.
I know me. I know how much of a bitch that I am, and I'm okay with it. Okay.
And I'm not really, but there's some things that are just not. They're not edible the way that they're presented.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I'm not the picky eater either, but like, Like if it had been head cheese, I would have tried it.
I think
Legit
a lot
would
of
have tried
it I could do under certain circumstances. A competition's not one of them. But if somebody, again, the liver thing when we were doing the jelly beans, and I gagged, I think I could have eaten an actual liver if I'm doing it to fuck with other people. Like if I get in the mind state.
You mean if you're doing it for the right reasons? Is
right.
What you're
like
saying?
if I'm there to scare somebody and I'm fucking with them and I'm like, I'm there. I'm gonna gag afterwards and almost throw up in the
You're
bag.
gonna be like, I just need a nice glass of Chianti to go with this.
But as far as a competition, no, I'm not.
So, I mean, again, it's all about how it's presented, right?
By the way,
because if it was pate, which is liver, fucking yeah, I'm on it.
By the way, mad props to, is it both Boulets or just Swan that goes through and does all of the things?
I want to say both of them do, but I know Swan does.
Because Swan's talked about it.
Yeah. I mean,
they
later.
They do
like,
all of the challenges, I think before. They have.
Yeah, and they just can't. I think they did the bungee jumping after because they didn't want the competitors to see them be okay. Like, they don't want...
No. I don't think they do it while the competitors are there.
Well, yeah.
I think they do everything
I think
ahead
that
of time.
one they did after, and it was something about, like, the setup and everything, and they had to do it afterwards. But, yeah, they've spoken about it, especially on their podcast. But I just, some things I think would be an absolutely thrilling experience to do. And then again, I'm weird. I'm not particularly competitive at all. At least in terms of like games and sports, and no, not really. But I am sort of an adrenaline junkie if I'm given the opportunity. Like, so with fibro, I don't get out much, and I don't need to. I'm a hermit. I love being at home. But if somebody was like, yeah, I am all expense paying for you to skydive, I'd be on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
All expense paid for me to bungee jump off a bridge in the dark over water. Hell yeah, I'm not on the hike, but I am definitely on that bridge.
Helicopter me in.
Yeah, drop me in. Thank you. I'll do the rappelling.
Skydive.
I'll rappel from the plane. Like, I have no problem with heights. Like, that's good with me. I wouldn't even mind like their electrical grids. There's all sorts of things in these that wouldn't bother me whatsoever.
The electrical grid would be fine. Being buried alive would be fine for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, even some of the things, like there's one where they like bobbing for...
Oh, yeah, the bobbing for apples emits like the pig head.
As long as I don't have to actually eat anything that comes out of there, I probably could do
it. Yeah, as long as I'm not... Yeah, I could do that. The brains, not so much. Like, again, if it was head cheese or something... Because I think my biggest problem is that it's raw. And I did grow up in England during mad cow disease outbreak. So, like, it was cemented in my brain that eating raw, especially brains where the prions are hiding that cause it, is a no-no. It's a big no-no. So is cannibalism because of the prions, by the way. You can get mad cow if you're a cannibal.
Let's go. Let's all be mad cows together.
Oh, that sounded like a sad cow. Never mind.
The good news. The good news.
There's good news.
Is it can only get better from here.
No, it could only get better if Loris was gone.
No. Like I vaguely know. Like it's not even a vaguely remember. The show gets better from here.
It really does.
Because everyone starts to finally click.
Get in the groove. Yeah.
Except for maybe Loris. I think Loris is like the
they
next
get
one
the
to go,
memo.
But we'll see. I don't remember who goes next.
Right.
But
honestly,
I don't.
Again, like this all suffers from first season syndrome, and I think that's, one of the things.
Not today.
Right, one of the things that the Boulet brothers and others come back to on the podcast and elsewhere is like the rawness of season 2 and how they'd love to recapture that, this, that, and the other. But keep in mind, they're talking about season 2 because season 1 was kind of the test pilot.
Right.
So you've got to figure out all of the little idiosyncrasies and so on and so forth. So, this is actually incredible for a first season of a competition on a low budget with people who have never performed in this format before. They're doing exceptionally well. Well, minus the rabbit.
And
There's
again,
always a rabbit.
And again, this also I want to remind people that happen to stumble across this at some point that when we're saying we disagree with the Boulets and stuff, I want you guys to understand we're doing it as people that are viewing the show
from more of a horror lens.
From not even a horror lens, from just what's given to us.
Ah, yes.
Because again, there's a lot of things that we'll disagree with moving forward in terms of, we hear things like we've had tons of conversations amongst ourselves throughout the show where they say the Boulets will critique somebody like, your performance was a little lackluster because you
but they showed them in the best light.
Right,
for the
but
clips,
but you're still showing us the best version of what was done, so we don't see that, and we're like, and this goes back to I really do wish like they would put the full performances on YouTube or something. Like, record the full performances, give us the snippets, and then like a week later,
I honestly think a Patreon would be fine because then they could earn money either for the prize or the season or and
they'd probably. I mean, I'd do it.
Totally. Yeah, like, and I think a lot of people
$5 a month to get a bunch of behind the scenes footage.
I mean, like that's 4 episodes of X number, like 10 to 3 competitors with their full, I'd love to see that. Plus, I think that would also help the ladies that do go home early, like to really show them off, get attention for them so that they can have a better platform, better following for what they do.
And just imagine what it's going to do for, like, if you show that stuff off, just imagine what that's also going to do for future competitors.
Yeah.
Where somebody can go through, it's like people that are in sports watching game tape of another team.
Yeah.
And
they're
learning,
like, that's
and then they can watch it like, so that's how you do that.
Yeah.
That's what I don't want to do. That's what I don't want to have happen. So I need to make sure I'm checking for this. Oh, I've got wings. I got to make sure they actually stay on and don't get ripped off unless I want to take them off.
Right.
Or if they start to fall off, I got to make sure it looks like it's a part of my act.
Right. How do I improvise? Exactly. And we've talked about, like, it would be probably prudent for any of these gals to take some improv type stuff just to know, like, when things go bad, because they always do.
Always do.
There's always something like, how do I make this look like I meant to do that? Or even if there's no way to make it look like I meant to do it, at least it looks like it's part of the show now.
Right.
So yes, it does improve from here on out, but for an episode that was, again, the first most horror based,
it was a letdown for us.
We were saddened.
And like she mentioned earlier, you look at it and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 people at most that actually have a zombie look, and even then,
I only counted 3.
3 people at most have a zombie look. One that's went with a skull zombie setup.
Right. And then the other 3 just don't count whatsoever.
Right. And then the other 3 just didn't do whatever. Yeah. I don't know what they did.
We have a rabbit, a madame, and a predator nun, which, by the way, I think would be
fantastic.
Really funny. Really funny. Like,
when are we
getting? Yeah, when are we getting the female predators? Can they come out in Silent Hill outfits? That would be so cool. Okay, or kill one of because they are obviously dangerous.
Right.
And then they're just carrying around one of the Null's nuns' heads, like null. The nun's skull on a spine was kind of, but my brain and my mouth don't always like keep up. What do you mean?
Do you remember what the next episode is?
You mean what it's called?
Right.
No, I don't. I know you told me at some point.
I don't want to slash her. I want to shut her.
But,
the next episode. The good news is it's always in my previously watched, so it doesn't take long to get to. The next episode is basic. That's right, basic bitches.
That's right.
This is okay, and this is where
we get a lot of pink.
Yeah, we're about to get a lot of just. This is a glamour show. It's definitely a glamour show.
Right.
Well, episode, not show.
So we know who's glam.
We know who should be near the
Who's
top
glam?
on this one.
Right.
Without even getting into it yet.
Befierce.
If I remember correctly, they actually kind of get knocked for not being as glam as they felt they should be. But I don't know.
No. If I remember correctly, her look is inspiring.
Is it?
Yeah. Anyways. Love you guys.
We love y'all. We'll see you next time. It's been fun. I hope you're enjoying this.
Even though this one was sort of a downer, like, it's still fun to talk about.
It is. And we'll talk to you guys about the next one next time. Bye. Not today.